Well, hello and welcome to our online mentorship session this Friday evening. It's few minutes past the hour of 7 p.m. and I'm so happy and excited that we are here again. Of course, since we couldn't hold last week's session, but I'm so excited that we are here again. And I want to believe that we all missed the session last week, which we will continue today. So greetings to everyone from wherever you're following from, whatever time zone you may be watching this broadcast from right now. It's good to have you on the show again. And I believe it's going to be an amazing time. I believe it's going to be thought-provoking, informative, and life-transforming. So I'd like you to sit back and get ready as we go on a flight to a world of wisdom and knowledge and understanding for the subjects that we'll be discussing today again. So greetings to everyone once again watching by Facebook or YouTube, or whichever platform you're streaming this program from. It's amazing to have you around. Now please do well as we engage on the drills for this program. Do well to hit the like button right now. If you're watching by Facebook or YouTube, please do well to hit the like button, like this video right now, and begin to share with as many as you can. I personally advise that you just keep sharing from now to the very end of the broadcast. Share with your friends, your colleagues, your subordinates, your superiors, your loved ones, and everybody around you. Let them know that we are live right now, especially those who also follow this program. Let them know we are live right now. It's going to be an amazing time. All right, so share with as many as you can. Share and share and share and share as we get ready to jump into the discussion for today. Now, if you're done with sharing, I'd like you to engage with me at the comment section like some of us are already doing right now. Please let me know from the comment section where you are watching from, what country, what city you are watching from right now. I see quite a number of us who are connected from Kaduna, Nigeria, from Maiduguri here, Borno State, and several other people coming in. So you let me know where you're watching from. So we have a range of the various geographical locations where we have our viewers right now. So please do that as part of the drill for the program, and let's get prepared to get started. Once again, welcome to this online mentorship session, and it's going to be an amazing time. I see Dominic connecting from Ghana, and Sharon from Adamawa State. It's good to have you around, and other people coming in and on and on. So please do well to like, share, and also Let's engage at the comment session. We're going to start in 2 minutes as I wait for us to just complete the drill and get ready for the subject of discussion today. Get ready for the program. It's really going to be life-changing and informative. And I believe that so much we're going to learn today, like other days, that will really be impactful to our lives as I look forward to it with you. So do well to share the program with as many as you can. Follow the drills. We'll be starting in less than 2 minutes as we get ready for an amazing time today. Okay, I think it's time for us to get started on the show today. So, greetings to every one of us once again, and I believe it's time for us to begin. To wait for more of our people to get on any of the platforms as we progress. I believe many of them will be part of the show as we progress, but we are going to start because of time. So we want to work with time and see that we close on time. We'll start with a word of prayer. Father, we pray that you will open our minds to embrace your wisdom with understanding as we interact with information, knowledge that are able to bring personal development and transformation for every one of us connecting and watching right now. Let this program be impactful in every way possible to the lives of so many people watching. In Jesus' name, amen. All right, so let's begin from where we stopped. We've been talking about relationships, specifically building strategic relationships. And you and I, or you will agree with me that when we talk about relationship, one very interesting commodity that must not be overlooked or overrated is the commodity called trust. Trust is important in building every relationship. As a matter of fact, it's one of the major things that people seek for in any relationship that must thrive. We started talking about the commodity called trust. And we discussed a whole lot in the previous episode, and then we agreed that we were going to talk about, because of the questions that came up, we agreed that we were going to talk about how to handle sharing personal informations. I call it boundaries in communication, especially since we had a lot of questions coming around the issue of trust in the previous episode. So that's what we're going to talk about today: boundaries in communication. Or more intently, we're talking about how to handle sharing personal information. Now, of course, everybody has a personal information. Dibal says, "Good evening, Apostle. Missed you last week, although I would have missed as well, as I was working that day." Connecting from UK. So you would say that the show that was not aired last week was done in your favor, baby. It's good to have you around, Dibal. Gadiel Garba connecting from Gombe. Elijah James watching from Lagos. It's good to have you on set again. Now, everybody has informations about themselves that they consider personal, that they consider confidential. And you only want to divulge these informations to people or in relationships where trust has been established, because your informations define you. Your informations give people access to who you are. People can know you by your informations, especially those ones that are very personal or confidential. So you need to understand how to share these personal informations. Of course, if you must build trust in relationship, there are things about yourself that the other partner must have. And I think it's because our relationships vary based on our connections with the various individuals. We have informal, semi-formal, or formal relationships. We have family relationships. That's people who we are connected to as family, maybe by blood or by birth or by region or location. We have friends, we have spouses, our spouses, our employers or employees. So we have different kinds of relationships around our lives, and each of these individuals have various kinds of access into our lives. And I think it's the access that we allow them to have that gives them the right of access to certain informations about us. Of course, there are things that you can share with your spouse that may be too confidential to be shared with your employers or your boss. So that's because the right of access differs. And that's the reason why when sharing personal information, there's one word that I want every one of us to take note of that will really help. I believe it's the wisdom behind sharing personal information. Because you see, when somebody has your personal information or has access to very intricate informations about you, it can be used to destroy you. It can be used to mar your personality. It can be used in your favor. All right? Because information is very powerful. Information is like a weapon. You know, people say knowledge is power, and it's true. When people have information, access to information about you, they already have some form of a leash around you that they can use to control you because of how important or intricate these informations are about yourself. So there's one word that I believe is the wisdom behind handling sharing personal information, and it's the word discretion. Discretion. I want you to take note of that word all through this short discussion that we will have. The word discretion. Now, I looked up the meaning of the word discretion, and it will interest you to know what it means according to the dictionary. Discretion means the quality of behaving or speaking in such a way as to avoid causing offense or revealing confidential information. Look at that. The quality of behaving or speaking in such a way as to avoid causing offense or revealing confidential information. So discretion is simply the quality of retaining or protecting confidential information. Confidential information about you, about your family, about what you do, about your life. Discretion is the wisdom around that. You know, there are people, the moment they find themselves in a social space and they have the opportunity to talk, some people are overly excited about, you know, talking about themselves, and in a few minutes they can simply just say every important information about them to the whole public. There are people like that. Some are just overly excited, you know, when they come around people or when they're in a, you know, public space. And then there are others who, you know, just have this drive to want people to know so much about them. Now, that has its advantage, but also has several disadvantages, because when you don't place a regulation as to how much information people have about you, everything confidential about you may just be out there in the public. And you need to understand something. We are living in an information-driven age now. This is not the 20th century or centuries before. Right now, we have social media, we have the internet. Connectivity is not about whether it's possible or not possible again. It's about the speed of communication now. And so you can say something in one location, and in less than an hour, somebody in a different location already has access to those informations. And of course, you know, like they say, the internet never forgets. So you need to be very careful how much information about yourself you put out there. It's very, very, very important. That's why I believe that there are boundaries in communication. There are boundaries in communication with your spouse. Yes. There are boundaries in communication with your spouse. And I'm going to talk about that, you know, shortly. Many people believe that when they have a romantic relationship with somebody, and of course, one of the things recommended to happen in a romantic relationship is a build-up of understanding between the couple. Both individuals need to learn to study and understand themselves within the period of time that they are together. And of course, for you to study a person, that person has to trust you well enough to let out informations about themselves. And it's true. I, for one, will recommend that a couple in a very serious relationship should not hide anything from themselves. However, now, this is where the twist comes in. There are people who cannot handle horrific details of certain information revealed to them. Let's say, for instance, your partner had a traumatic past, and maybe anytime they talk about it, it brings the horrors of what they went through fresh in their memory. Perhaps it's a trauma that they are still healing from. Or let's say you yourself accessing those information can affect you negatively. There are people who cannot handle the traumatic past experience of their spouse or their partners. At such point, I'll recommend that there is a regulation of how much information you give out to that individual. I think you should vet the person's mental and emotional maturity. Now, the thing is, we are human beings, we are inquisitive beings, and many of us, can develop anxiety when there are things we don't know and we want to know. Everybody wants to know what they don't know. But the truth is, not everybody can handle informations given to them per time. And it is for that reason why I believe it is recommended that you check the mental and emotional maturity of the individual before letting out information, certain kinds of information. Some of these informations may tread around finances, your financial worth, or around your career, or around very important issues that needs a level of maturity to be able to handle. Now, I know some people may not agree with me on that, but when we put facts to the table, you would have no reason but to just agree that this is the truth. See, there are many relationships that began to crack and was headed for destruction the moment, maybe under pressure, one of the individuals decided to share certain things about themselves. Yeah. And sometimes the individual that these informations were shared with were not mentally prepared or emotionally matured to listen or to receive them. So I believe these are points in relationship where you will need to really apply discretion. I mean, for those of us who are people of faith, look at it this way. God hides things not from us, but for us. Because the Bible says in Deuteronomy 29:29 that the secret things belong to God. And in 1 Corinthians chapter 2 verse 9, eyes and has not seen, ears have not heard, neither has it entered the heart of man the things that God has prepared for them. That also there are, and in verse 6 and 7 of that same 1 Corinthians chapter 2, the Bible speaks about the wisdom of God that was hidden in a mystery, hidden from all ages, but appointed for our glory. So if we truly are sons of God and we are being called as heirs of God and we share in a relationship with Him, why does He hide certain things from us? He doesn't hide it from us. He hides it for us. There is a level of maturity we will need to grow to be able to access these informations, especially when they have a lasting effect on our lives. So this is when I recommend for a lot of discretion. You also need to apply discretion when sharing information about yourself with your family. I beg to say that just because somebody is your family relative doesn't mean they should know everything about you. Listen, you need to understand something. In social interaction, okay, the edge, part of the edge that you have over people is when there is a part of you that is enshrouded in mystery or enshrouded in secrecy. That's not with the intention of making you appear spooky before people, but you see, there's a level of respect and credibility that you will command in the social space when not everything about you is known. And so, even with family members, sometimes you need to keep away the bias of family connection and check for the maturity of the individuals. How do they handle the personal information of an individual when they have access to it? There are some people who are very bad with secret. I'm telling you, they will do anything to hear what you have to say. But you can't be sure that you can entrust these informations to them to keep it. And so, if you don't want a collateral damage, or if you don't want an assassination of your personality, you will need to apply discretion and learn to keep back certain informations. Okay? You see, I told us something when we started talking about building strategic relationships. When we started talking about trust, I told us that trust is earned with time. All right? And it is with trust that you build relationships. That's the reason why give as much as that individual has earned your trust. That's how much you should give. As much as they have earned your trust. Very important. So I think that's the word that, stands out in our conversation today. Discretion. Discretion. A very, very important wisdom that is needed when sharing or handling your personal information with people. The boundaries in relationships or in communications within relationship is not meant to pitch the parties in the relationship against each other. No. It's not meant to create mistrust or distrust. No. The boundaries is meant to allow for the mutual growth of trust within the individuals part time, and to also ensure that your image and your personality is well protected, because we're living in an information-driven world. Okay, let's see the comments on Facebook, and see how much comments we have. Yes, says, wow, eyes opening. Eyes opening, or eye opening, I believe. Sarah says trust is earned with time. Christiana says information around finance should be kept secret. Some informations, okay, like what you're worth, how much you earn. Let me tell you something. Most of the wealthy billionaires or millionaires, you think that what is written about them in newspapers or magazines is really what they are worth? No. They may be worth more. It will be what individual worth is measured in the business space by how much assets you have that the public has access to. Some of those guys may have businesses or business assets that are not captured, that are not well known. So it's not really everything about them that is known. And that's because information is power. Whoever has access to your personal information or information about your personal life has some form of control or leash over you. You have to believe that, because information is power. Information is power. So it's not everyone can handle certain kind of information. That's very true. Information is very powerful and is a strong weapon. Very, very true. I remember somebody asking one time in the previous episode, about how do you handle people who I can't remember how the person put it, but people who talk a lot, or people who cannot keep secrets. And that's the reason why you need to set boundaries in your communications with everybody within your space. I believe that you need to set boundaries. Yes, know how much goes to which person per time, and allow, you see, that this thing called trust should not be compromised. It's a standard you will need to set for your relationships that should not be compromised. Allow people to earn their way into your closest cycle. Allow people to earn their way into your life, into your heart. Start by entrusting them with little informations about you and see how they handle it. And then grow gradually with them. By all means, build boundaries in your communications. And as well as, I believe that there are informations about people who are close to you that should not be let out. You will need to guard this information because they have entrusted their own life to you. Somebody has a question. When do you think is the right time to share this information with them? It depends on the kind of information you are asking about. Maybe you can state what kind of information, because I believe that the kind of information will determine, quote and unquote, the right time to share these informations. I believe that informations had to be shared, but I also believe that informations had to be kept. So maybe you help us understand what kind of information you may be referring to. I think the kind of information classified will help us determine what time, if at all, it should be shared. And I advise, not all about you should be known. I advise that. That's not so that people can be afraid of you. But you see, like I said, whoever you hand over a personal information of yourself to already have some form of control over you. And you want to give that power of control or influence. Let me use the word influence. I think the word influence is going to be better. You want to be sure that whoever has the power of influence over you has grown up or has a level of maturity that you can vouch for. Abi? Yes. You don't want to give influence about your life to people who you are not sure of their maturity. I mean, let me read a scripture for us from the Bible. So help us know what kind of information you are referring to. This person with this question. So we can determine the right time in quotes. Okay, Matthew chapter 7 verse 6. It says, do not give what is holy to the dogs, nor cast your pearls. Pearls are like precious gemstones. They're like jewels, very precious jewels. Nor cast your pearls before swine, lest they trample them under their feet and turn and tear you in pieces. Look at that. Let's read it in Message translation. It says, don't be flip with the sacred. Banter and silliness give no honor to God. Don't reduce holy mysteries to slogans. In trying to be relevant, you are only being cute and inviting sacrilege. So that means that sometimes people talk so much about themselves because they want to appear relevant. New Living Translation of the same verse says, don't give what is holy to unholy people. Don't give pearls to swine. They will trample the pearls, then turn and attack you. So that's the Bible advising us to apply discretion as touching secrets or personal informations about yourself. You know, it's also important that certain personal information about you is released to certain kinds of people that you can trust. Sometimes in the face of danger, maybe a secret line, a secret communication line, mobile line, or access to you where you are. This is important so in cases of emergency, people can and will be able to reach you. So I think it's all about balance. And the wisdom of such balance is contained in the word discretion. So you need to learn to apply discretion in how much information about yourself is shared. Sometimes you can find out by engaging in constant dialogue with all the relationships around you. As you dialogue with the various people connected to you, you can just weigh their mental and emotional maturity and then know how much of your trust that they have earned, you know, especially by what they do with previous information about you that has been shared. And then other times, if you feel compelled or the need to share certain important or discrete informations with individuals, you may have to add to them that this should be kept a secret. Even though sometimes when you say that to people, that's when they will go and say it everywhere. But let it be at least for the benefit of doubt that you told them that this information is supposed to be strictly confidential. Very important. I mean, great empires or governments have crumbled because of informations leaked. As a matter of fact, informations that has to do with national security in certain nations are classified. That's what they call them classified. You know, even some people in the government will not have access to those informations because they contain issues of national security. Sometimes a president may not even tell his wife because They are classified informations and she doesn't have clearance to it. And that's because of the power of influence that informations carry. Thank you so much for this great insight. Thank you, sir. Let's check on Facebook again and see how much engagement. This is enlightening. Wish I had this knowledge sooner. Wish I had this knowledge sooner. Well, I think this can be an assignment for all of us. Try finding out how much of yourself is known in the social space. Start by asking your friends and those around you what people say about you. I think it will help you know how much information about yourself is out there, and know if you need to really start applying discretion, or what is out there is just enough for awareness about you and not something to send some form of panic to you. I think you can start that in the days ahead. It also helps you to know how much of the people around you can be trusted. There's some sensitive informations about you that you already can tell how many people should have access to those informations because you told them. And so when you hear those kinds of things, you may know who may have betrayed your trust or who may have not applied discretion with handling the informations that you've given about yourself. Is this a question? Wow. So I have a question on building strategic relations. People say to build friendship with only people who add value to you. That's true. I believe value is a resource domiciled in every human, and only true friendship can harness it. So strategic friendship might not have the patience to reach for that diamond in the rough, and might be too quick to write off and also too blind to perceive. So my question is how to balance between genuine love and bonding in relationships while still trying to harness the potential and value in people. All right. It's a very, very intelligent question. By this question, it's trying to give every relationship around your life the opportunity, if that's the word I will use, to see, what can be developed in your connection with that particular individual. Now, for the fact that you are patient enough to watch a relationship grow means that you can already perceive value in that relationship. Like you said, value is a resource domiciled in every human being. And what makes it valuable is based on the perception of the other individual. So for you to be patient enough to keep a particular relationship around, it must be because you perceive some form of value in it. However, we're talking about strategic relationships. Now, when we say strategic relationship, we are not simply saying, it's not in the sense of a transactional relationship, as it were, relationship where you're only looking for what to get. No. A strategic relationship can be engaged by coincidence. by purposeful connections or by divine arrangement. A relationship is strategic when its importance in the life of the individual can be spelled out from the very beginning. For instance, your relationship with your employer, your relationship with your spouse, your relationship with your family member, your relationship with your neighbor, or your relationship with the people within your community. Those are strategic relationships. From the very onset, you can tell why they are strategic, because they have important roles or placements in the life of an individual. There are relationships generally, but when we classify them into strategic relationship, sometimes it means that you didn't really play a role in your connecting with these people. Fate sort of brought you together, or you sort of just discovered the role of this individual in your life within a specific given time. So to your question, if I really understand it, is, of course, love and bonding helps relationships to grow. But value is something that is most times perceived from the beginning. It's either you perceive the value of that relationship from the very beginning, or you perceive that there is a value that this relationship will contribute. That means you don't know what you will gain from this relationship, but you are building it because you perceive that somehow deep down you are going to find something valuable. And if it is one of the two, it's the reason why you would classify it as a strategic relationship. If you can sense or perceive the value from the very beginning, even when you don't know it, it's because it is a strategic relationship already. All right. But generally, I think in as much as it's good to give time to building relationships around your life, you need to understand that any relationship that must thrive must exist on purpose. There has to be a reason why you connect with certain people. It's either you are the one to discover the reason, or you are the one that creates the reason for that connection. All right, because relationship is usually a means to an end, not the end of a means. It says if you can sense the value from the beginning, it is a strategic relationship already. That's true. That's true. So it's either you can see the value that it will bring to you because of the kind of connection you have with that person, or you can perceive that there's value at the end that you stand to receive. If it is any of both, it's a sign that it's a strategic relationship. And that's true. Any relationship that must thrive must exist on purpose. There has to be a reason why you connect with people. There has to be. There has to be. As a matter of fact, any relationship existing without a purpose will eventually create its own purpose. And of course, that purpose is created by the boundaries of communications established within the relationship. This is what I mean. If a young guy and a young lady connect somehow, maybe because they found themselves in a place, or they were going somewhere and then they met in that place, if they don't find a purpose for that relationship or that connection early enough, and they continue to communicate, the consistency of communication will by itself create a purpose for them. And that's the reason why a lot of people get emotionally and romantically connected without even knowing why they were connected in the first place. It happens with young people, they fall in love, not defining the relationship from the beginning. And they get so emotionally entangled. And by the time they begin to place facts on the table, sometimes they realize they made a mistake. For instance, two people who just met, connected, and began to communicate without restraint and without identifying the facts of the purpose of their relationship, eventually may become emotionally entangled and romantically connected. And when they decide, okay, since we are emotionally connected and romantic with each other, let's get married. And then one of them realizes that they have the blood genotype SS, and they're not, or both of them discover that their genotypes are not compatible. That's because they didn't find the purpose of that relationship from the very beginning. That's also another reason for boundaries in communication. You need to apply boundaries in your communication with people so that you have enough time to discover the purpose of your relationship with them before taking it to the next stage. All right. 8:05, right? I think we can stop here. Many people are silent today. It's as if they are and they're having a tete-a-tete with their mind. Yeah. Let's see Facebook before we okay. Just Elizabeth. This is eye-opening, Papa. All right. I'll leave you to go back and watch this broadcast again. But I think it's been a wonderful discussion. Short though, but very interesting. You may want to go back and think deeply about that word, discretion, and understand that the reason for boundaries in communication, for many reasons, is to, number one, regulate the amount of personal information about yourself that is shared with others, and number two, to give room or time to discover the purpose for that relationship. These are very important wisdom for our daily lives as we get to communicate with people. And I pray that this wisdom will help improve your relationships with people, help you build trust, certified and oriented relationships. All right, as well as protect, your personal information or your personal image out there, so that we can be sure that whoever has access to information about you, that level of access that comes with a lot of influence is in the right hands. Thank you so much. I'll see you next week again. It's going to be a greater time of discussion again. We're still going to continue on relationships, but we'll talk about another very interesting aspect that I believe will really bless you. I know that you've learned a lot. I saw a comment on Facebook just now. Boundaries are very important in every relationship. Indeed. Yes, ma'am. Yes, sir. Thank you so much for the teaching today. It's timely for me. Well, I pray that you think about it and meditate on it the right way. God bless you. Have an amazing weekend. Go back to watch this broadcast again. And you may want to share with certain people around your social space, because it's good that the people who are closest to you know and hear the things that you are hearing. I think it's going to help build, foster mutual growth and understanding. God bless you, and it's night from here.